Britain forced India to pay for its own occupation. The British Indian Army, which enforced British rule, was paid for by Indian taxes. India paid the salaries of British soldiers occupying India. India paid for the weapons used to suppress Indian rebellions. India paid for the administration that governed India for Britain's benefit. This is like forcing someone to pay for the chain that enslaves them, but it gets worse. Britain also charged India for British projects that had nothing to do with India. When Britain fought wars in Afghanistan, Egypt, or China, they used Indian soldiers. And they charged the cost to India. Indian taxes paid for a British imperial expansion across Asia and Africa. When Britain built infrastructure, they built what benefited extraction. Railroads connected interior regions to ports, not to link Indian cities. The railroads moved raw materials from inland India to Bombay and Calcutta, where they were shipped to Britain. The British claimed railroads were a gift to India, but India paid for them through taxes and debt. And the railroads primarily served British commercial interests. Then there was the home charges. This was an annual payment India owed to Britain. It covered the salaries of British officials in London who administered India, the pensions of British soldiers who had served in India, the interest on bonds issued to finance Indian projects that primarily benefited Britain. Every year, millions of pounds flowed from India to Britain as home charges. This was pure extraction. No goods or services in return, just tribute. India also had to maintain a large sterling reserve in London. Indian gold and foreign exchange sat in British banks. Britain used those reserves to stabilize the pound. India got nothing except the privilege of propping up British currency. By 1900, India was running a trade surplus with the world. Indian exports exceeded imports, but that surplus didn't stay in India. It was transferred to Britain through home charges, debt payments, and forced reserves. Economist Utsa Patnaik calculated that between 1765 and 1938, Britain extracted approximately $45 trillion from India in today's currency. $45 trillion, that's not the total value of goods taken. That's the compounded value accounting for what India could have earned if that wealth had stayed and been invested locally. To put that in perspective, $45 trillion is more than 20 times India's current GDP. It's more than the total debt of every country on Earth combined. Britain didn't just tax India. They drained it systematically. For 190 years, the economic drain had a body count, and it's measured in tens of millions. Between 1765 and 1947, India experienced more than 24 major famines, famines that killed between 30 and 60 million people. These weren't natural disasters. They were policy decisions. The 1876-1878 famine killed between 5 and 10 million people. It happened during a drought. But the British continued exporting food from India. Grain left Indian ports for Britain while Indians starved. Why? Because the British believed in market economics. They refused to interfere with grain prices, even during a famine, even as millions died. The viceroy at the time said famine relief would create dependency. Better to let people die than disrupt the market. The 1943 Bengal famine killed 3 million people. This was during World War II. Britain diverted Indian food to support the war effort. They prioritized feeding British soldiers over Indian civilians. Winston Churchill, when told about the famine, reportedly asked why Gandhi hadn't died yet if the famine was so bad. He blamed Indians for breeding like rabbits. The British shipped rice from Bengal to Britain. They destroyed boats in Bengal to prevent food distribution, fearing Japanese invasion. They refused to divert food supplies from other parts of the empire. 3 million dead. While food was exported, this pattern repeated over and over. Famine hits, British continue extraction. Millions die, no change in policy. Because the system wasn't designed to prevent famines. It was designed to extract wealth. And famines didn't stop extraction. They sometimes increased it because desperate people sold land and possessions for food, enriching moneylenders and merchants connected to the British. So that's how Britain destroyed India's economy. Military conquest, economic restructuring, deindustrialization, debt extraction, famine, 45 trillion drained over 2 centuries. You might think this ended in 1947 when India gained independence. It didn't. The system evolved. Today, it's called debt colonialism. And it works almost exactly the same way. Different countries, different institutions, same 5-stage pattern. Stage 1 is no longer military invasion, it's debt. Institutions like the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank lend money to developing countries. The loans come with conditions that restructure the economy around extraction. Stage 2 is economic restructuring. Countries are told to privatize state industries, open markets to foreign corporations, cut social spending, reduce tariffs. These policies are called structural adjustment. But what they actually do is the same thing Britain did to India. They turn countries into suppliers of raw materials and buyers of finished goods. Local industries can't compete with multinational corporations. Manufacturing moves to countries with cheaper labor. Wealth flows out. Stage 3 is debt dependency. Countries can't repay the loans, so they borrow more, the debt grows. Interest payments consume national budgets. Money that should go to schools, hospitals, infrastructure goes to foreign banks. This is the modern version of home charges. Tribute paid annually, not to a colonial government, to international banks. Stage 4 is resource extraction. When countries can't pay, they're forced to sell assets. State industries are privatized and sold to foreign corporations at discount prices. Natural resources, oil, minerals, land, are leased or sold to pay debts. Stage 5 is political control. Countries that try to break free, that refuse IMF conditions or default on debt, face consequences. Credit ratings collapse, investment flees. Sanctions are imposed, sometimes governments are destabilized. It's not military occupation, but the effect is the same. Sovereignty is lost. Economic policy is dictated by foreign institutions. Wealth flows out. The parallels to British India are exact. Different mechanisms, same structure, same outcome. So why does this matter to you? You're not Indian. You're not living in a developing country being drained by debt. Or are you? Because the same extraction system is being used inside wealthy countries now. Not against nations, against people. Think about student debt. You borrow money to get an education. The education is supposed to increase your earning potential. But the debt grows faster than your income. You pay interest for decades. The money goes to banks and loan servicers. Your income is extracted. Think about medical debt. You get sick, you need treatment. You go into debt, you pay interest. The hospitals and insurance companies and creditors extract wealth from your labor. Think about housing. Prices rise faster than wages. You borrow to buy, you pay a mortgage for 30 years. By the time it's paid off, you've paid double the purchase price. The extra money goes to banks. This is the same system. Debt used to extract wealth continuously. You work. The value you create is transferred to those who own the debt. The scale is different, the mechanism is refined, but the pattern is identical. And just like in India, the system is designed to be inescapable. You need education to get a job. You need housing to live. You need medical care to survive. So you borrow. And once you borrow, you're locked in. The people who benefit, the banks, the corporations, the investor class, they're not evil masterminds. They're just operating the system they inherited. A system designed centuries ago to extract wealth from India, now scaled globally, now applied to everyone. Britain didn't develop India. They destroyed it. They took the richest economy on earth and turned it into one of the poorest. Not through incompetence, through design. 45 trillion extracted. Tens of millions dead from famines caused by policy. Industries destroyed. A civilization gutted. And the method they used, the 5-stage extraction system, didn't end with colonialism. It evolved. How much goes to rent on assets you can't afford to own? How much goes to paying for systems designed to extract, not to serve? Your grandparents could buy a house on one income because the extraction system hadn't fully turned inward yet. You can't because it has the same machine that destroyed India is now running inside your own economy. The debt is the chain. The interest is the tribute. And the system is designed so you never pay it off. Understanding how Britain destroyed India isn't just history. It's the blueprint for understanding how wealth is extracted from you right now. Because the system is still running. And the only way to protect yourself is to see